It's going to work this time. That's the word of the day for you all. It's going to work this time. God said, go back. He said, do it again. Just like Prophet Elijah had his servant to go look because he promised the rain. He promised that the dew would fall. And he finally said, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand. God said, go back. Whatever you started, he said, go back and do it again. Because it's going to work this time. You have been so discouraged, and that's the enemy's job, to get you so discouraged, because he knows what you're working on is going to be so great. The enemy knows this, but it's going to work this time. You had to grow. You had to remove things away from your life that shouldn't be there. You weren't in the right place where you needed to be. Life was just up in the air. Your life was all over the place. Now you're more settled. You're more wise. You're more stronger. You have more faith. You have more discernment. And now you really want it. Now you want it really, really bad. God said, go back and do it again. No excuses. No excuses. I want you to hashtag that. No excuses. Don't make any excuses. It doesn't matter how many times you did it and it didn't work. It doesn't matter who promised to help you and they didn't. God said, go back. He said, and do it again. It's going to work this time. It's going to work. Sometimes you just got to keep doing it. Sometimes you just got to keep that wheel turning. This is what the Lord is telling you. Why are you giving up? A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. You are a champion. You can't give up. God didn't design you to give up. He didn't design you to quit. He didn't design you to cave in, lose heart, throw the towel in. God didn't design his children to do this. God said, go back. He said, do it again. I don't care what it was. God said, go back. He said, and do it again. This is the word for you today. God said, go back and do it again. What did you lay down that you gave up on? What was it? Why did you give up? Because you did it 5 times, you did it 10 times, and it didn't work? It's a test of your faith. Your faith is on trial. Pass your test. You are being tested. You are being tried. God is putting you through the fire. You know, God is asking you a question today. God is asking you, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want this? Do you want it as bad as you say you want it? God said, go back then. He said, because it's going to work this time. It's going to work. You know, God will slow down your blessings, and God will put your blessings on hold because you have the wrong people in your corner. Listen, when the right people come, good things happen. When the wrong people leave, good things begin to open up for you. When the wrong people come into our lives, bad things happen. And I mean, they happen over and over and over and over again. God said, go back. He said, it's going to work. He said, it's going to work. God was testing you. You said you believe. God said, I'm going to see. I'm going to see how much you believe in me. I'm going to put your faith to the test. You're being tested, and you are being tried before God give you one of the biggest blessings you've ever had in your whole life. God said, I said go back and do it again. Well, what did you lay down? What did you quit, stop building on? What did you give up? Because you've done it so many times. That's what you said. What if it was God's will? It'll come to pass by now. If it was God's will, it will happen, family. No. No one builds a city in a day. King David didn't become king in a day. When the prophet had the horn of oil and poured the horn of oil on the man of God's head, he was a king. But he didn't walk in his kingship when the prophet left. He went back in the field tending sheep because God had to groom him. He went back to writing, singing his songs and praising and worshiping unto the Lord. Don't you get discouraged. This need to get some oomph on the inside of you. Don't let what you go through slow you down, and don't let it discourage you. Don't let life discourage you. Don't. This is a pivotal moment in your life where you got to fight. This is a very pivotal moment where the trajectory of your life is going to change, and you have control over how much it'll change, or if it'll change or not, by what you think and by what you say. God said, I told you. He said, I told you to go back and do it again. Go back and do it again. Go back and do it. God's going to back you up. You know, God is not going to let you be made shame, family. He's not. You know, people are looking at your life, so you can't think about those things. But what am I going to look like to people? Am I going to be embarrassed? Am I going to look like a fool? Listen, that's not what you need to be thinking about. And that's not what you need to be saying. Because whatever you open your mouth and say, you're going to bring that thing to pass. Don't open your mouth and say anything you don't want to come to pass. God said, go back and do it again. This is the word of God for you who are listening. God said, go back and do it because it's going to work this time. Now, the enemy is going to try to tempt you so much so you don't do it, because the enemy is going to tempt you and tell you this if you listen to his lying self. Well, if it was really God's will, if it's really going to work this time, why didn't it work the last 100 times that I did it? God has his own time. God is on divine time, and God doesn't operate on our clock. If God give you an illogical instruction, you follow it. What is an illogical instruction? An illogical instruction is what God is going to do. He's going to tell you something to do that doesn't make sense in your natural mind. Do it. Doesn't matter how many times you've done it. God said do it again because it's going to work this time. You got to keep building the wall, Nehemiah. Don't come down, Nehemiah. Keep building. It doesn't matter what people plot on you. Keep building the wall. Keep digging and keep building. God said it's going to work. You think it's not going to work? It's going to work. This is why you have to work so hard at changing the way you think. This is why you have to be more persistent. You got to really work at transforming your mind, because your mind is an engine. Your mind is the engine of your life. You got to keep that engine tuned up. You got to keep your mind tuned up, and only the Word of God is going to do it for you. It's going to work for you this time. If you want something bad enough, you're going to do whatever it takes to do it. If you want your life to be changed, you're not going to take one excuse as to why you can't get it changed. You're not. Don't give yourself an excuse, and don't allow life to give you an excuse. Don't settle for an excuse. Don't look at what didn't happen. It's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. It didn't happen then because it wasn't God's will for it to happen then. You think you should have had it by then? God said, no, you shouldn't have. You had some leeches around you that would have took you for everything that you had. You think people took you for what you had now? Can you imagine if you would have had the blessing then with some of the people in your life? So you got to thank God that God held up your blessing. You got to thank God that God didn't give you some opportunities with certain people in your corner, because they weren't in your corner for the reason why you thought they were in your corner. Now, not everybody is in your life for a bad reason. This is where your prayer going to come in. This is where your spiritual discernment is going to come in. God gave you eyes to see in the realm of the spirit. You tune up your physical eye to see in the realm of the spirit. God has given you signs all day long. God has given you synchronicities. But we miss it because we try to make people be what we want them to be. We try to give people a role in our life that God said, I didn't tell that person to have this role in your life. Now it's going to work. Now it's going to work. You don't have to try to make it happen. You don't have to manipulate anything. You don't have to dibble and dabble in negative things that you shouldn't, just to see if life can work out for you. If God told you your life can work out for you, you don't need a witch. You don't need a warlock. Are you kidding me? You better believe on the Word of God, because the Word of God is true. It's going to work this time. It's going to work because you're going to be in a better place. You're going to be in a better place in your mind. Your mind has to heal. Your mind has to be whole. You got to remove these limited beliefs. You got to remove these old paradigms. This is what is holding people back. The things that they were taught and how they were raised. Your parents did the best they could. Whoever reared you, they did the best they could. They did all they know how. We're not making an excuse, but how long are you going to hold that? See, God is asking you a question. God said, how long are you going to hold on to this? You can't keep holding on to this. You either release it, let it go, and live your best life, or you hold on to this and you live a life beneath your kingdom privileges. God said, your faith is what I'm testing. I'm testing your heart, and I'm testing your faith. Your faith is on display. Your faith is on trial. These tests didn't come to destroy you. They came to make you bigger and stronger and more tenacious. It should help you be more persevering in your life. It's going to work this time. It's going to work. Have that mentality. Have that beast mentality. Keep that kingdom mentality. It doesn't matter what come or what leave, what doesn't, what stay. It doesn't matter. You got to make it. You got to talk yourself into the blessing. You can't keep talking yourself out of the blessing because you're going to give life to it. And you're wondering why life ain't moving for you the way you want it to move for you, because possibly it's what you're saying, it's what you're thinking, it's what you're saying. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speak. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What are you saying to yourself? God is telling you to speak positive, family. Don't speak negative. It's working for you. God said, go back and do it again. God said it's going to work for you this time. It's the reason why God didn't let it work for you then, family. You know, God knows the heart of man. And God is not going to give you anything when he sees the wrong people in your corner, because God didn't call us to fatten up our enemies. God said your enemies was your footstool. Your enemies belong under your feet. All we're commanded to do is pray for people and leave people alone. Let people be. Focus on where you're going. You want to get out of that rat race, you'll get out of it. If you want to get out of the hellhole you're in, trust me, you'll get out of it. God said, go and build it again. Go and do it again. Keep digging. Keep building that wall, because you're doing something. You're building upon something. You're building upon generational wealth. You're building generational success. You're building generational healing. You're building generationally, not just for you. What you're doing, you're going to leave a legacy for your children and your children's children. God is going to bless the socks off of your second, third, and the fourth generation. Just keep walking in obedience unto the Lord, because God got a blessing with your name on it, and there's no devil in hell that can take, prevent, hinder, or frustrate the will of God for your life. This is Prophetess Nikki. Good to be here with you. Thank you for tuning in and joining our broadcast of You Are Enough. Jump over to my Instagram and follow me over there at Nikki G. McCray. Watch this video from the beginning to the end and go back and rewatch those pre-recorded lives and those pre-recorded videos. Thank you for purchasing the book, Becoming a Master of Divine Consciousness. You can get that book in any online platform, in ebook and in paperback format. It's just a pleasure to come into your homes daily, family. The word of the day for you is this: it's going to work this time. Don't overthink it, because if you overthink it, you're not going to move. You're overthinking it because you're predicting what is going to happen or what's possible to happen that hadn't even happened yet. Don't overthink it. You're being overly anxious. And God said, don't be anxious for nothing. He said, but in everything you do it through prayer and supplication. He said, let your requests be made known unto me. We'll talk later. Share this message with somebody. Stay focused. Keep your hand in God's hand. Don't let him go. Don't let God's hands go, family. I love you. We'll talk later. I love all of you so much. Bye-bye.